Good Sunday morning. Welcome in to Neutral Zone with Fan Run Drew. You've got the clone. We're going to be here for 2 hours breaking it down, talking UT hoops. Oh, and the Vols have gotten active in the portal. Tons of NFL stuff to unpack as well. Tons of coaching vacancies. Tons of coaches being interviewed. A lot of moving parts. Man, we have got so much to dive into. But first, we got to say hello to the Swiss Army knife back there. Drew, what say you? My man, look, little different weather than what we experienced last Sunday.
Yeah, winter has definitely arrived, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon, Cloney. I am doing great. Man, there is so much to talk about. Unfortunately, we're going to have to talk about the disaster that is Tennessee basketball right now. But, a lot of positive news in the portal, desperately needed. I think there was a lot of hesitancies, including coming from myself, on whether the football program would actually finally splash some cash on players so desperately needed on the defensive side of the ball. Well, they definitely answered that question yesterday with 2-3 massive pickups in the portal. And even on Thursday it was Xavier Gillum, defensive tackle as well.
Yeah.
And obviously we'll talk about in the second half, of the show. But man, NFL is just this might be the best NFL season I think I've seen in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the wild card round certainly did not disappoint on day one. Woo! Buckle up, though, man. I mean, you've got you've got the Bill. It kicks off again today at 1:00 with the Bills and the Jaguars, and I mean, arguably the hottest team in the league, the Jaguars, with rookie coach, first-year coach, first playoff game for I guess Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
I mean, huge atmosphere. Duval, I've seen videos, and it's, but Bills Mafia has, say what you want, but they take over every city that they go into. And, Buffalo has looked very vulnerable, but I would never bet against, I will not bet against Josh Allen and him being able to just jump in the phone booth, tear the street clothes off and pop out in a cape and, find a way to pull Buffalo to a victory. Today is going to be another electric day. Of course, you get the second matchup will be the Niners traveling over all the way across country to play the Eagles in PA. And then later tonight, you've got New England hosting the Chargers. So we'll break a lot of that down. There's a ton. I mean, again, I don't know if I want to spend a whole lot of time on the UT basketball. There's clearly I just feel like because, listen, the splash in the portal, Rick Barnes has got to be grateful, so grateful that, I mean, imagine the bullets, the fire that he would be getting right now, had we not just went out and gotten, like you said, some key impact guys. We'll run through the list, but the safety, the nickel, Quay Moss, Kansas State, cornerback from Auburn as well, Kyan Lee.
Yeah.
Neither of those guys gave up a passing reception touchdown. The offensive tackle from LSU, the Williams kid, Ori Williams, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then you mentioned here's where the Jim Knowles effect. So, and I don't want to, I'm not putting I'm not trying to dissect this and say we wouldn't be we clearly would not be where we are with all of these defensive, players, transfers, had we not went and made that defensive coordinator hire. With Knowles, these guys, this was just, and frankly, I was told two of the guys took a little less money to come here. And
Interesting.
yeah, it's great for the Vols. It's great for too, because his complex system that typically, a lot of people say, hey, it'll take year 2 before you really see this defense pop. And you've brought in now. Well, I guess they're now being called 10 State. So just change the P with the T. So. But yeah, you again, defensive tackle Xavier Gilliam. Of course, we didn't even mention we've got us a kicker. He seems to be the part from Louisville. Then you get a linebacker from the Howard kid from Eastern Kentucky. I haven't looked at a whole lot of his film yet, but Amari Campbell, the linebacker from Penn State, led their team in tackles. And then you get your Leo. Defensive end, a guy that arguably has potential first-round draft ceiling in the NFL draft in Chaz Coleman. So then you top it off yesterday, later in the day, with the safety, DeJuan Lane. So I love where our defense, just the fact that we're going to have someone that's actually coaching guys. We're not going to just allow guys to take bad angles continuously, or else they're getting pulled and they'll put someone in. There'll be accountability on that side of the ball now. This is no longer the head coach's buddy. This is a guy that's coming in here who wants to win. I'm told that Rodney Garner and him that's like a match made in heaven. They absolutely will, like, Garner with some of these guys and some of the guys coming back on the defensive line. We have a chance for this defensive line to be really, really good. And it's going to need to be in this system until that, the back half, picks things up. We still don't know about our linebacking core, but we're a lot better than what we were by what we've already gained. So we'll see. Now, also, as you mentioned, we're awaiting the hearing with the NCAA and that case involving.
I got actually a breaking news update for that in regards to that. This is coming from Matt Zenitz, who's the NFL/National College Football senior reporter for CBS Sports. He says, while a waiver is still being pursued and there's nothing final yet, it's currently viewed as unlikely that Tennessee quarterback Joey Aguilar will be granted an additional year of eligibility, sources tell CBS Sports. So, which this kind of brings into the point, and this is probably, a good thing to mention as well. This kind of makes a lot more sense when you kind of remember that Tennessee both canceled Bo Pribula's visit as of right now, who was supposed to come over the weekend, I believe either today or tomorrow, and why they've kind of wouldn't say have reinterest in their pursuit of Sam Leavitt, but have basically more or less have gone all in as to trying to get him. And so I believe the staff has been preparing for this. It always kind of seemed from the get-go to be extremely unlikely, especially considering the fact that we heard that Trinidad Chambliss didn't get that extra year of eligibility on Friday. Which, it's unfortunate for Joey. But if you want my 10 cents on this personally, I think it's just better for both parties, in my opinion. I think Joey has a decent chance where he could be able to work himself into a roster in the NFL. He's certainly got the arm for it. Obviously, he's going to be out for most of the the NFL Combine and everything, with dealing with that tumor that he had on his his throwing arm. But Sam Leavitt is the type of quarterback, as far as just his ability to be able to make plays, scrambling out of the pocket, make something out of nothing. Relatively decent arm, fairly accurate over across the middle as well. Like, this is somebody that Tennessee desperately needs in the quarterback position. I don't think it's all doom and gloom. If they don't get Sam Leavitt, I think they'll go with Bo Pribula from Missouri, or go with another portal guy as well, and try to have all three with Faison and McIntyre and whoever that third person is battle for that role.
Yeah.
But if you want Tennessee to hit their full potential next year, which they're going to be able to do that on the defensive side of the ball, they've definitely added some much needed talent and reinforcement there. But if you want to see that same kind of production, I feel like on the offensive side of the ball, you got to get it to somebody like Sam Leavitt, who who's arguably number one player in the entire portal right now that's available, and the number one quarterback as well.
Yeah, and I don't have the information on his physical and how that checks out. The foot is certainly that's a big part of Levitt's game, and if he's close to even being healthy, he gives you the kind of athleticism. Actually, probably a better athlete than even Mateer was. But he can read a defense. He can make big time Sunday throws. He proved that at Arizona State last year. Now, we have a decent running game. We don't have the running back and the weapons perhaps that he had last year's team at Arizona State, where he took them into the college football playoff and really challenged really well. But I think with Levitt, who's, everything I've read, I know he was in Miami yesterday. I would have to believe that, Lane just is like, he wants to be like the lead singer. He wants to be a rock band lead singer so bad. He's got to be like constantly trolling, being out there, and the LSU fans that are literally drinking his bathwater. They're gonna flip on him just as soon as he leaves, and it'll happen. Wherever he decides to go next. I mean, Al Davis. Look, he was 100% right in that press conference when he got let go. It was clearly like, and nobody would listen to him, and he was like, he lies. He's the biggest liar I've ever seen in my. And Al Davis saw a lot of coaches and a lot of football over the years, and you still see it. But there's so many people, though. Great offensive mind, great developer of the quarterback position. I'll be honest with you. I was shocked to hear that Trinidad Chambliss was denied his. I mean, that I think a lot of people were.
I think a lot of people thought that after the season that he was going to enter the portal himself and head over to LSU. That always kind of seemed like that he was going to follow Kiffin's steps. But I mean, I think the thing that's frustrating the most is that there's no guidelines. Like there's no information that kind of like gives us a reason as to why player A or player B gets granted or denied eligibility. And it's just kind of infuriating that it still tends to be a case-by-case situation. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like as far as the eligibility thing, like that should be at the bottom of the things that the NCAA needs to worry about. I mean, they honestly need to find a way to get like complete control and take care of this like portal situation because it's an absolute disaster. But I mean, there has to be a better guideline. It's the fact that like we're still not getting like an explanation as to why certain guys are being, given eligibility or not. And this has been an issue for the last, 20, 25 years? And it just seems like it's been exploited even more since, the portal has come out and, been implemented.
Yeah. And, Lane Kiffin was one of the vocal ones when Miami decided to give Carson Beck $4 million. And, it's almost like, and look, I don't think Carson Beck is the reason they're there. They're clearly, of all the teams to this point, they have the best line of scrimmage play. They're absolutely mauling teams. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see because that system and the way Signetti's team, I mean, it's like a bunch of doggone robots out there. Everyone knows where to be. It's so they don't beat themselves. Every ball that's a loose ball fumble, man, there's 2 or 3 guys. I mean, they just react. He goes out and recruits guys a little bit older. He doesn't pay as much attention to the 5-star coming out of, right out of high school. He gets guys who have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder and kind of bring your lunch pail, the guys that are going to outwork you. And that's very, that's contagious when you build that sort of culture and then you sprinkle in a talent like Mendoza. And he, say what you want, there's people still knocking that he won the Heisman. the guy processes. He sees the field well. He's just a baller, man. He is an absolute baller, and that team is. There's a reason why they're favored by a touchdown.
Oh yeah, I mean the thing is too, it's like he doesn't have like an unbelievable arm. It's not like he's able to throw it, 85 yards down the field like a Joe Milton or anything like that. But as you said, he processes the game at an elite level. And the thing is, at the end of the day, he makes clutch plays when it matters most. I mean,
yep.
When it comes to Heisman players, for example, I know a lot of people think he's the worst Heisman, to ever win it. I have a different argument on that, but every Heisman player has kind of like their moment, and he had that against Penn State at the very last play of the game. 4th down, 4th and 15. And looks like they're about to lose, be upset, and gets a touchdown at the very end. And I mean, it's just some guys just have it. And I don't know if he's going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I think his limited arm may hinder his potential in the NFL. But man, it's college. It's hard. It's hard for to argue that any quarterback right now is playing at a higher level than Mendoza.
Oh, no question. Hey, you are listening to Neutral Zone right here on Fan Run Radio, presented by Fleet Tire. They're at 111 East Woodland Avenue. For all your tire needs, it is certainly Fleet Tire. If you want to jump in with us, we'd love to hear from you. 865-966-3435. That's 966-3435 to enter the Neutral Zone. So I'm looking at ESPN's top rankings, portal rankings. Obviously, one, they have Sorsby already committed or transferring to Texas Tech. Number 2 in that is Cam Coleman. It'd be interesting. The wide receiver has 2 years remaining left from Auburn. Excuse me. I wonder with that. I wonder if he stays in the SEC, if he, that screams LSU. That screams a Miami, perhaps. And maybe the dominoes there. Maybe he's waiting to see where Levitt goes. Levitt is the third. He has 2 years remaining. So we'll see. I don't know that we would go after him if we were able to secure Levitt, just based on what we have at wide receiver right now. Now, I'd take a top off the defense kind of guy, an athlete like that, but
I think running or wide receiver is probably one of the last position groups I'd have to worry about as far as adding a body in there.
I agree.
As far as Cam Coleman goes, I think he's going to wind up at Texas A&M. I think a lot of people forget he was committed to Texas A&M out of high school.
Okay.
He's already had that relationship with Elko and that staff as well, and he's visited them, Texas Tech, Texas, and he just wrapped up a visit with Alabama. And I mean, I feel like it's just as far as like returning talent goes and everything, A&M just seems like the most perfect fit. But then again, you never know. I mean, Texas Tech might just go ahead and just offer him $5 million, which seems like they do with everybody these days, and he might wind up over there. But I think there was a little bit longer rumors. I'm forgetting the name. It was like one of the Ohio State wide receivers is keen on a visit to Tennessee in the next couple of days as well. He was a 5-star out of high school, but I don't really see them adding anybody personally where they feel like that they could be able to compete for a starting position, like more of a depth piece than anything else. Because you got to remember, I mean, like we're getting Staley back, Mike Matthews, both for Darius Jackson, Travis Smith kind of looked the part. Despite some of the limited play that they had, this season. And, you got the kid from, Knox Catholic, Tyreek King as well. That is going to come in. Obviously, Tristan Keys, who was the number 1 wide receiver in the 2026 recruiting class. So they should be pretty fun over there. I kind of hope that they add one more body over there in the offensive line. I'm not the biggest fan of Deshaun Bishop either, so I really would like to see them to add a running back, but truth be told, I got a feeling if they're going to be adding one, it's probably going to be a guy that's going to be most likely a backup or a third string to Bishop and Donnie Morris.
Yeah. Now, I don't know, and correct me, Drew, if any of these guys, but now I know the Evans kid from A&M. He went ahead and committed here, right?
Yes, I believe
I'm pretty
so.
sure. I'm I'm pretty sure I saw that. He played at A&M. You've got the guy coming in, if not today, I believe it's any day now, the running back from Florida State, the Salchuk kid. And that's per Peter Nakos. Then safety from Georgia. You already mentioned Pribula from Missouri.
So the safety for Georgia, as soon as the DeJuan Lane announcement came out that he was coming over here, he was actually, from what I've been told, and take this for a grain of salt, he was on the verge of putting in ink on paper, committing over here. But when that news came public, he kind of had second thoughts because I think that he realized that DeJuan Lane is more than likely going to be the starting safety for us next year. So he committed to Ole Miss. Another name to watch out as far as the safety position goes is TJ Metcalf, who played at Michigan this past season.
Yeah, the safety. Yeah,
also played at Arkansas. That is a name that I would watch where I could absolutely see.
And I believe he's scheduled a visit. Yeah, they have scheduled a visit with him, according to some info that I received. Now, a DB, Aaron Scott Jr. from Ohio State. They got the Gavin Freeman from Oklahoma State, who's really more impactful in the return game. But then what about and again, a good friend of mine just texted me, and with the injury concern and the mileage, like, let's not forget how many miles Deshaun has given, he's put in, and he's very underrated in picking up. There was a lot of people wanted more reps for Starr Thomas, but in that system where they're trying to set up run, get 4 yards, tempo, then with play action, you got to be a really good blocker in this system, and he's very, very underrated in that aspect. But I think a guy too, the running back from Baylor, his name escapes me, but I do know there was talk of him, and then there was a kid from, I don't think it was Southern Cal, it might have been California. So was it the Raphael kid?
Yeah.
So there's potential there, and I think they realize they got to go get another running back.
So they got two guys. I got the list of the Sunday visits today. Guys are going to be on campus, and I'll just go one by one.
Yeah, hit them.
So Alabama edge, Kua Russaw, he played 215 snaps in 9 games.
Yep.
Missed some time during a foot injury, but, a big contributor as far as, getting live snaps and playing time as well. Another one was defensive lineman James Smith from Alabama.
Yeah.
Played over 400 snaps this year. More of a depth guy, but again, this is you need depth in that defensive line, especially. And we saw the consequences of not having that this past season. As you mentioned earlier, Florida State Gavin Salchuk, he's expected to visit today. 486 yards, 109 carries, 8 touchdowns this year for the Seminoles. Not too shabby. Does have 1 year of eligibility left. And for him, and then we also have Florida running back Jacoby Johnson, who earned a medical redshirt in 2025 after playing 4 games and rushing for 98 yards on 27 carries. I think if there's going to be a guy personally who Tennessee's probably going to be most likely going after, I could absolutely see somebody like a Jacoby Jackson, just because of the fact that, you have to remember, right? Like, the staff is looking at it from all angles. Like, they're going to look at it as far as somebody that can be able to contribute, somebody that has played at a high level like the SEC or the ACC for that matter. And they also got to look at the NIL budget on how much is going to be able to affect them and where they could be able to address other key areas too. And for me, Jacoby Jackson kind of seems like the most logical solution. This is a guy that is coming off a medical red shirt, probably will be fully healthy by, spring practice. Not really, too much of like a flashy stat line, only 607 yards on 122 carries and 7 TDs in his career at Florida. 1 year of eligibility, so this is probably somebody that is going to be looking for a place where he could be able to contribute for a top 25 team, but also most likely knows that he's more or less not going to be a starter next year too. So that's a name that I would look out for. Walter Mathis Jr., the defensive lineman from LSU, also making a visit. Had 9 tackles, a pass deflection. Played high school football in 2024. Was a 3-star prospect, could be more of a potential project, but does have a lot of potential though. As far as being able to, be worked up by Rodney Gardner and being able to make that rotation. And then, as you kind of alluded earlier, Texas A&M defensive lineman Dylan Evans is another one that's visiting, and as well as Tulane edge Jordan Norman. I expect Norman, if there's going to be a guy where we're going to be throwing big money at and maybe to the degree of overspending, I could absolutely see it being him. Had 28 tackles, 8 tackles for losses, and 6 sacks this past season for a college football playoff team that was under Tulane. Had 2.5 sacks with South Alabama in 2024 as well. So that's kind of like the list that Tennessee has right now. Nothing in the quarterback position, as we kind of mentioned, that Sam Leavitt visited over on Thursday, extended that into a 2-day visit.
And did have a physical, by the way.
Yeah.
I think teams are going to want to. They're going to want to know, hey, how healthy is the foot?
And he had that at LSU as well. And like people have to remember, like that there's a lot of money that's on the line for him. Where I feel like he's, he feels like he needs to prove some critics, because there's a lot of people that think like throwing $4, $5, $6 million for a guy that's coming off a foot injury is risky business, because of the fact, like, well, you don't know what his mobility is going to be like, how comfortable he's going to be, after recovering that injury. And the thing is, as well, it's like he's going to be missing all of spring practice wherever he goes. And I think the big question for Tennessee is just, is Josh Heupel willing to spend $3, $4, $5, $6 million on a quarterback, knowing the fact that he's going to miss all of spring practice, implementation, and he's going to be, kind of essentially like playing behind as far as that quarterback battle goes.
Yeah, that's a big. It's a lot to balance. That's why they pay him the big bucks.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, most definitely that is that's a lot to weigh, man. Again, I would. From what I've been told too, that and if the Joey news does not sound encouraging right now, based on what you read earlier, and obviously with what happened with Trinidad Chambliss, that was a big surprise to a lot of people. So I think we can. You wish for the best for him. You want him to get healthy. Yeah, I wish in the worst way he would be healthy enough to be able to, he can go and be a part of interviews and meet with teams and things like that. Talk, go into the, I want to see him in there with Gruden and doing the, hey man, I want to hear your cadence, man. I want to know what you say. But, but stuff like this, what a great guy. And, having gotten to meet him once, family, everything I've heard from people is just a class act. Great. Just polar opposite of what we had in here at his position before him. But I would not be surprised one bit. And I'm not saying that there's a huge waiting list for him, but I think if they have this inside knowledge and belief, then I think you will see them, Tennessee and Heupel, really go in harder for a quarterback now.
Oh yeah,
and maybe that doesn't allow you to go back. Maybe you have to go the cheaper route for a second running back, maybe another running back. Certainly don't need to exhaust your NIL funds on a wide receiver at this point. I agree with you there 100%. I'd like to see maybe another offensive lineman. Tackle would be great. But all in all, you've added some pieces here, some key pieces that were missing. Now you got to go get a quarterback. And yeah. I hope that they're on top of this. We'll see. I don't know that we're going to get a Leavitt. He's clearly got his, but I'm, maybe, because I can tell you right now, and I'm not going to mention any, names or anything like that, but the way it went down with Sorsby, who had family, family has a house here, whatever. Let's just say I don't think Tennessee was, for a variety of reasons, to be fair, they were not, let's say they weren't like super aggressive, as aggressive as, let's just say, Lane and Texas Tech. Now,
There's
I also say
reasons.
there's reasons, and I also say we were playing more by the rules, and there's also a part of me that would like to see us be a little more in the gray area, now that this NIL is free for all. I mean, so my point though is that it sounds like we could start seeing a little more momentum towards a quarterback. Now, maybe it's the kid from Missouri. Maybe I don't know what other quarterbacks are still out there. I loved the kid at Old Dominion. I really liked him. I liked the Hoover kid from TCU. I didn't think we were ever going to pay that kind of money for Sorsby, but
Yeah, I kind of thought, I was hoping that they would have been able to be a little bit more aggressive with the recruitment for Colton Joseph from Old Dominion, because I mean, he was. Honestly, he was
really liked his
He
game.
was one of the very few quarterbacks that kind of torched Indiana's defense this year. A lot of people forget about that too.
Yeah.
I mean, he had I think well over 300 yards of offense
He's
against Indiana.
He is can extend plays with his feet. He's just he's a big, durable guy that could play a full SEC schedule. I think he would have been a glove fit perfectly type of get for Josh Heupel. But man, again, we may learn a lot more later today. If what again, tell the listeners again and refresh my memory. The person that from CBS that
Matt Zenitz.
Yeah. Okay, and obviously pretty credible source on that. He doesn't feel, and again to quote him, he said that he just doesn't feel.
The vibes around the case is basically, indicating that it's going to be very unlikely that Joey gets another extra year of eligibility. And kind of like what we said earlier in the show, like it makes sense, if Trinidad Chambliss not getting, his eligibility granted, and let's be kind of real, he has a little bit more of a legitimate case and argument than Joey does. So it's unfortunate, but at some point, the NCAA, at the same time that we have to remember, at some point you just got to tell the guys, hey, it's time to move on. Because there's still players out there in college football that have been playing college football now for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And so it's unfortunate for us, but thankful for Joey able to come in here in such a short span of time and be as successful as he was. And not to mention leading the SEC in passing yards with a freaking tumor on his throwing arm as well. Pretty extraordinary. So.
Yeah, really is. Man, you just wonder how long he, any sort of discomfort there, or that it was noticeable. Just it makes you wonder how long he played with that.
I got my theories on this, but I really think it was the Alabama game that kind of was an indicator that his arm was a little shot, or he lost some of that throwing power. Because, remember the Georgia game and the first 4 or 5 games of the season, he was able just to absolutely just launch it all the way down the field. And then you saw later on, that accuracy was kind of gone. You saw it in the Oklahoma game especially. He would make a couple throws here and there, but just not at a consistent level like he did at the start of the year. But again, even still, and the fact that the kid was averaging, close to 300 passing yards a game here, while dealing with that and still playing through that pain, where he could have very easily after, the regular season be like, look, I gotta, get this taken care of if I want to have any shot of being in the combine or practice for the combine for the draft. So kudos to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we're going to pivot rather to stay in college, but we're going to pivot to some college hoops. We'll talk about Tennessee's disappointing loss down in the swimming pool, whatever they call it down there. Literally smells like an aquatic center down in the dump in Gainesville. 91-67. We're going to recap it. Who would have had Vanderbilt 16-0 and Nebraska, I believe 15-0? Who would have had both of them unbeaten on their bingo cards in basketball?
Vanderbilt's always low-key been kind of like sneaky in basketball, but never in a million years for Nebraska. I mean, I don't even remember them ever being good in basketball. Vanderbilt's had some good teams in my lifetime, but never Nebraska, ever.
Yeah.
It's a weird season.
Yeah, and then the upset of the day clearly, probably in all of sports, was Wisconsin going into Ann Arbor and beating the number 2 ranked Michigan. Michigan's a very talented team. They've got a player of the year caliber player, great young coach in Dusty May, but they turn the ball over a lot, and that could rear its ugly head, and that could be their kryptonite for them making a deep run in March. I'm not saying they will, but they'll exit early. But that is a team that is wow. I mean, they have looked like the best team clearly. I mean, there's a lot of people argue Arizona is that team, but wow. I mean, they got handled there and made it close down the end. But Wisconsin went in there, and Wisconsin shot lights out and took advantage of second chance and off the turnovers. But in what we like to call explosive plays off turnovers. Sounds like a Jimmy Dykes take, the cheesy one himself, Jimmy Dykes. Sit on the bus. I want to get you up on first class. All right, more Neutral Zone coming up right after this. You are listening to Fan Run Radio.
Smoky Mountain Brewery is the place to be for game day. From the moment you walk in, it's wall-to-wall big screens, making Smoky Mountain Brewery the perfect place to watch the Vols or your favorite team in action. With locations in Turkey Creek, Maryville, Pigeon Forge, and Gatlinburg, you're never far away from a great time at Smoky Mountain Brewery. Try one of their world-famous microbrews like Black Bear Ale, Mountain Light, or Cherokee Ale. Juicy burgers, wings that bring the heat, and delicious handmade pizzas made with hand-tossed crust from the freshest ingredients and their own special sauce from a secret recipe, topped off with hand-grated cheese and farm-fresh toppings. And don't forget, those famous microbrews are also available in kegs for your next party or in 6-packs and growlers to go. So grab your crew and head to Smoky Mountain Brewery and tell them Fan Run Radio sent you. Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good.
Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Men all around Knoxville are celebrating the difference Men's Pro has made in their life. I'm Evan Bass, founder of the clinic. If you're struggling with ED, we want you to be able to celebrate as well. As men, we hate going to the doctor, but Men's Pro was designed to take care of men like you better. These things can get worse if untreated, but you're not alone. The medical support team at Men's Pro has your back. Today's the day to feel alive again. ED, performance issues, enhancement. We've effectively helped men jumpstart their performance comprehensively and with proven medication dialed in just for you. With same-day booking, you can meet our passionate team, and under guidance from our medical provider, you could leave with a plan that changes your life. The number one thing we hear guys say is, I forgot how I used to feel. Guys, it's time to feel amazing and crush this new year. Call my team right now and let us treat you to an unforgettable experience. Dial 865-544-8220 or go to menspronknoxville.com.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent, request counsel, call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Welcome back into Neutral Zone here in Fan Run Radio, Studio Land right here. You have entered the Neutral Zone, presented by Fleet Tire, 111 East Woodland Avenue. For all your tire needs, it is Fleet Tire. If you want to jump in with us, you can at 865-966-3435, 966-3435. We'd love to hear your take. What's wrong with the basketball team? What is, I was telling a friend yesterday, I feel like you're going to see this Jekyll Hyde. It's going to look really good, like top 15 good at home. Then you're going to go on the road and you might play a decent half like we kind of saw yesterday. And then it just, boom. 91-67, Florida. Florida does not even have a smidge of any sort of resemblance of what they had last year. And I know we've got a lot of new pieces and we're trying to get rotations in order, but man, Tennessee, come on, guys. This team they're not defending, they're not rebounding, they're giving up second chance points. What are you seeing, Drew?
I understand the frustration, like with this basketball team, and trust me, there's a lot of frustrating things about it. As you mentioned, the turnovers, the second offensive rebounds that we give up, second chances just in general. But you got to remember, this is every Rick Barnes team that he's had here. Every single January, we always kind of start off a little bit sluggish, and have that one humiliating loss. People forget last year that Tennessee was number one in the country, and we went into Florida and we lost by 30 at Gainesville.
I remember that. And then we popped them.
And then we popped it. This is what they do. This is just what Tennessee just does. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter who the head coach is. Whatever reason, we've always struggled at Florida, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to look at the record and be like, well, this Florida team's not that good. They've lost by combined 10 points to Arizona, Duke, and UConn this year. This is a good basketball team,
and they're well coached,
and they're excellently coached. Todd Golden's arguably the best coach in college basketball right now.
He's got it going on,
and you have to take in consideration as well. Our number one guy is supposed to be a freshman that was just playing high school basketball less than a year ago. And is playing a whole different level of intensity and things like that. And then just a roster in general that has 13 different players on it compared to last season.
Yeah.
So this team is still trying to find the identity of what they are, how they operate and, what level or what their potential could be. And, and if people are going to be upset about the result yesterday, guess what? That Texas team that we beat by 14 earlier in the week, they beat Alabama on the road.
Yeah.
It's college basketball, man. College basketball, no matter what, it's just every single year you're just going to have off nights.
Yep.
I guarantee if Michigan played Wisconsin again, Michigan probably would beat them by 15 or 20. But just sometimes you just have days where it's just like the only thing you can do is just turn over the ball, or you miss wide open shots, or or things like that. And Rick Barnes made a great point after the game yesterday. He's like, this is going to have to be a turning point for us. He's like, our guys are going to have to look deep down and be like, what do we want this season to turn out to be? And I think this is going to be the turning point. Like, I genuinely believe in this team of being able to finish in the top 5 in the conference. And if they finish in the top 5 in the conference, they're most likely going to be a 3 seed or a 4 seed at worst in the tournament. And the pieces are there, man. I mean, it's just like you just got to have guys like Amos just going to have to. I mean, he's going to have to be out of his comfort zone and just play far more aggressive, attack the rim, and use that 6'10" frame that he has to his advantage. And, and Tennessee's got, a fairly, like a reasonable, next couple games coming up, both at home, playing Texas A&M, who, again, is a solid team, but, not to the likes of Florida, in my opinion. And then, obviously, you got a big game against Kentucky in the Food City Center next Saturday as well, which, again, is a very winnable game, especially considering the fact I have to double check, but did they lose? No, they beat Mississippi State yesterday. But but they did lose to Missouri earlier in the week. And so this team's going to be fine. And
it's growing pains.
It's growing pains. You'd rather have a team have their growing pains and try to find the identity in January,
certainly,
than as opposed to peaking. Because you're seeing teams like Arizona and Michigan, as much as I think that they are the 2 best teams in college basketball, and some of the best coach, obviously, they're peaking too early. Like, they're going to come down at the end of January and February, start having some of these losses, not playing at the level that they were in December, and those are going to be teams that are going to be most likely, come tournament time, be knocked out of the second round or be knocked out in the Sweet 16.
Very, very well could happen. If you kind of just kind of dissect the box score a little bit. Obviously, we had no answer for Boogeyman Fland and him banking 3-pointer. He had a bank 3-pointer in, but 23 points there. They're big. I can't even. I don't know how Chinyela. 16 boards, 17 points. 12, and that was even foul trouble. He might have wound up with 20 rebounds if he wasn't in foul trouble. And of course they're so far ahead. Obviously with 91-67. But if you look at it now, Ament, didn't really shoot well, but 17 points, 4 rebounds. The key stats for me that really stand out to me is, you had a little bit of an off night scoring the basketball for Jacoby Gillespie, 3 for 10, 2 for 6, though, on threes. You'll take that. But 4 turnovers and 3 assists. So you can't have that from your Bishop Boswell, 4 points, 6 turnovers. What are we doing here? 6 turnovers.
He was awful.
Yeah, Amari Evans, who was showing signs of life. 20 minutes, only 3 points. Only shot 2 shots. But, there was a little bit there. Again, signs of encouragement. I've liked Jalen Carey. He's had some solid contributions this year. Again, JP Estrella, not totally healthy, but 10 minutes, I don't know. I don't know if there was, something, virus or something going. Wow. You just never know this time of year, too. You're trying to get through, survive, flu and cold season and get your rotation set. So I don't put a whole lot, to your point, I don't put a whole lot into, oh my gosh, it's doom and gloom here. But it is a nice, kind of little segue when I kind of sound doom and gloom, and I hand it off to you. I'm letting you reel the fans back in and the listeners.
Look, I think that, truth be told, I think the expectation or what people are expecting out of Nate Ament is a little bit unrealistic, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know everybody's thinking like, oh, he's a top 5 player, he's a 5-star, paying him $4 million. Like, yeah, I mean, like, I get that, man. Like, I totally understand that. And like, there is certain aspects of his game that
he's not a Boozer.
But
Boozer
he's not a Cameron Boozer, okay? He's not a Cooper Flagg. Like, he's
the
not
Peterson guy from Kansas. I mean, he may have the
mean,
highest ceiling of any of the NBA talent guys. He looks like
a
legit stud.
Oh, absolutely. Like, and that's the thing. Like, obviously, I wish Tennessee had somebody like Cameron Boozer or Peterson from Kansas. But the thing is like, he's still averaging like 13, 14 points a game. And like the main thing that Tennessee fans need to be frustrated about more than anything, they need to be frustrated about the centers, okay? With Akpar only getting 3 points, I mean, Akpar is averaging less than 7 points a game.
Yeah,
right?
What is going on with him?
I mean, you're talking about in his last 3 games, or his last 4 games, he has had 3 points, 4 points, 3 points, and 9 points. And the game that he had 9 points against was against South Carolina State, who's probably the worst team in America right now. So, like, you have to expect more out of him. And people want to, and for JP Estrella, you hear our fans on Twitter all the time where, for good or worse, I mean, as passionate as they are, man, it's just some like god-awful takes I have to see on a daily basis on there. But, people are like raising hell at Barnes about not playing Estrella enough. Man, the first thing Estrella did yesterday when he comes off the bench is he fouls and turns it over twice. I mean, and like, the thing is, it's just like, I don't know if he's in his head because of the injury that he had early in the year, but I mean, clearly something has happened since then where he's lost that confidence. I mean, again, 0 points, only took 1 shot, 2 rebounds, 3 fouls. I mean, just not productive at all whatsoever. And I mean, he was all right against Texas with 11 points. But again, I mean, this is somebody where you're talking about the very start of the year. They are having 12 points, 17 points, 23 points. I mean, this is somebody as a sophomore, 3rd year into the program, needs to be playing at a higher level.
Yeah.
And the thing is like when your bigs are able to get some baskets, make some contested shots, it allows you to open up the court for everybody else, so it doesn't feel like Gillespie has to shoot a 35-footer because it's the only shot that like the only guy on the court that has enough confidence offensively to make that play. So it's frustrating. I mean, truth be told, people don't want to hear this, but the thing is, it's just, I mean, Florida is just one of those teams where last year they kind of really heavily rely on their guards setting the tone and, with Walter Clayton Jr. and being able to allow that to open up their bigs to complement them. And this year they kind of, reverse the roles. It's now they focus on the bigs, on playing that physical inside the paint and opening things up, to Boogie Fland or whoever, for a corner 3. So it sucks. It's annoying. I mean, I hate losing to Florida in anything, but it's January. Just settle down. It's going to be all right.
Deep
We're going to
breaths.
ride the storm.
Yeah, take some good breaths. Relax. Let me ask you, though, with the according to ESPN, and I have to look at who wrote the article, but they have the current, like, front-running contenders for all the big conference teams or conferences. Right now, they have Vanderbilt as the favorite.
Okay,
a 53% chance to win the SEC.
Okay.
Biggest threats: Florida Gators, Arkansas Razorbacks, Alabama Crimson Tide. Tennessee is borderline on this list, but they are the 4th team. Tennessee, despite BPI giving the Vols just a 16.3% chance of winning the league. They're 4-4 in their past 8 games and still have to go to Alabama next week, I believe. I believe that's right. Obviously you get thumped yesterday. Again, protect your home court. You're going to have to win. I think the difference, like with you, I will agree. You get it right and turned around, then you absolutely. The Houston win on a neutral site will look good to the committee.
Yeah.
It certainly will. And Houston is look, I don't think this is Houston's team last year. They're always going to have dogs. Sampson is a dog. He's going to outwork you. He's going to physically. It's like a like an anaconda, like a snake, a python that's just gonna let you come in, and it's just gonna wear on you by putting a body on you. And but I look at them; they remind me very much of the teams prior to last year's team that went on the run. That team had more explosive offensive players. I think they could score the basketball certainly a little more. Now, anytime you can play that kind of defense and win physicality, win those 50-50 balls and get second chance opportunities on the glass, you're going to be in a lot of games. But looking at all of that, I would say, Tennessee's going to need to win a road game, win a tough game that you're not favored in. And I think it needs to come on the road. When I say that, you still have the SEC tournament. There's big, you have a chance there to make a good impression and move up. But I will agree with you. The difference there to get that 4, to be a 4 and elevate to a 3 is you're going to have another big quality win like on the road. I'm not saying you have to go to Alabama, but you're going to have to win some games on the road, at least 1 or 2.
They got their opportunity, right?
Sure.
Alabama is very vulnerable, right? I think Georgia is kind of overrated a little bit. They played a pretty soft, out-of-conference schedule.
Right.
But they'll most likely be ranked when we play them, which is near about the end of the month, a couple weeks from now. But,
yeah,
they have their chances. And again, this team is, it's not like, I don't feel like this is like the COVID team with Keon Johnson, Jaden Springer, where I was just kind of all right, these 2 5-stars that we were kind of expecting to light up the world, they don't really do much on offense. It is what it is. We have the pieces. We've seen it from Jacoby Gillespie. We've seen glimpses of what Ament can do.
Yep.
And obviously that Jalen Carey can be able to buy those, those physical, tough, grinding, type of shots. And you've seen Amari Evans have those glimpses of potential as well. And so the thing is they just, I feel like more of anything, they just got to learn how to calm down, just continue to play the style of basketball that Barnes wants them to play, and and just lock down defensively. That's the only thing where I felt like if we had last year's team, we would have had a better shot of winning, in the sense of just as much as I love Jacoby Gillespie, man, we are missing Zakai's defense and his work ethic too. There's no disputing about that. And that's not to say that Jacoby doesn't work hard, of course,
right.
But and he certainly offers more on the offensive side of the ball than Zakai did. But man, it's just some things that are just hard to replace and replicate.
Right.
After crucial pieces like Zakai and Meshack leaving.
Yeah. So the upcoming schedule, we'll just blaze through it real quick. I know we're up against the halftime break, but we get A&M back here this week, then Kentucky. That's a 12 noon a week from, yesterday, I guess. So, those are 2 games. You take care of business there on your home court, even if you lose at Alabama, but then you go back-to-back at Georgia. Like you said, we're going to find out a lot about Georgia, and hopefully by then we're going to find out we've grown up a lot. Then you come back here, home, you host Auburn, then Ole Miss here, then you go at Kentucky, at Mississippi State. So win one of those games, win an at Georgia, go up to Rupp Arena and beat them. Put your foot on their throats while they're down right now. They're going to get up for us. Maybe it's an at Mississippi State. Then we host LSU. Then we host Oklahoma. Then we go to Vanderbilt on February 21st. Then we go at Missouri. Again, Missouri's had some quality wins. Then we host Alabama. Then we have a more likely kind of vision on what kind of seed are we looking at, not only for the big tournament, but for the SEC. Because then you finish out with at Scar, and then you have Vanderbilt here on a Saturday, 2:00 before March 7th, before we really dive into the SEC tournament. So that's just kind of an idea. We'll touch on that more on the other side. Neutral Zone presented by Fleet Tire, 111 East Woodland Avenue. We want to thank them for making it possible here. Come on back for the second half. We're going to dive in. We'll talk some more UT, portal, UT Hoops, whatever you want to discuss at 966-3435, 865-966-3435. You are listening to Neutral Zone on Fan Run Radio.
Is that old tree in your yard starting to lean a little too much? Branches hanging over your roof? Don't wait until it's too late. Call ECR Total Landscapes today. At ECR Total Landscapes, we specialize in safe, professional tree removal, trimming, and storm damage cleanup. So if you've got trees that need to go, now is the time to give us a call. Plus, we're offering free stump grinding now through the end of the year when you use or mention promo code FANRUN. That's right, free stump grinding for Fan Run Radio listeners. At ECR Total Landscapes, we live up to our name by offering total landscape services. In addition to tree cutting, we also offer a wide range of landscape installation services and custom monthly maintenance packages that create stunning outdoor spaces tailored to your vision. Give us a call today to schedule a free estimate at 865-384-2012 or just visit us online at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Your tax refund belongs to you, not an identity thief. Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft last year. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. They monitor and alert you to identity threats you'd miss on your own, even if you're careful with your personal information. And if you do become a victim of tax-related identity fraud, LifeLock has U.S.-based restoration specialists ready to help solve your identity theft issue. Plus, all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, meaning LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Let LifeLock help protect your financial info, so all you have to worry about is what you do with your tax refund. Go to LifeLock.com, save up to 25% off your first year. The promo code is HERD, promo code HERD, to save up to 25% off your first year. LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
We really need to get some branded stuff. Shirts, hats, promo items, something professional.
I mean, we could just find a website and order a bunch of it ourselves.
You could, but you're taking a big risk. You don't know the quality, the fit, the timeline. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I guess, but isn't that how everyone does it now?
Not the ones who actually care about how their brand looks. Look, if we're putting our name on it, it needs to be done right. We need SM Athletics.
SM Athletics?
Yeah, they specialize in working with businesses like ours. Apparel, hats, promo gear, but real, customized stuff. They actually care if it turns out right.
Probably a lot better than getting stuck with 100 t-shirts with crooked logos.
Exactly. Plus, they'll walk you through everything. Sizing, colors, material, so it matches the image we're trying to build.
Makes sense. What's the name again?
SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
Are you ready to show off that confident, radiant smile you've always dreamed of? Well, here at Knoxville Smiles, we're ready to turn your dream into a reality. At Knoxville Smiles, we're more than just a dental practice. We're your partners in achieving optimum oral health. From routine cleanings and checkups to advanced cosmetics and restorative procedures, we offer a wide range of services in an environment that makes every visit a positive and comfortable experience. At Knoxville Smiles, it's about more than just treatments. We're focused on creating a welcoming environment where you feel like family. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed with your comfort in mind, and our friendly staff is always ready to address your questions and concerns. Don't wait any longer to achieve a beautiful smile you deserve. Schedule your appointment at Knoxville Smiles today and take that first step towards a healthier, happier you. Call us at 865-539-1776 to book your appointment today, or just visit our website at knoxvillesmiles.com.
All right, let's kick off the second half here of Neutral Zone, presented by Fleet Tire, 111 East Woodland Avenue over in North Knoxville for all your tire needs. It is Fleet Tire. If you want to jump in and you want to talk about whatever's on your mind, you want to talk some NFL, crazy first day, Drew, of wild card action. I imagine it's going to get wild today as well. The 1 o'clock game of the Bills are now down in Duval and have tried to take over Jacksonville. That's going to be a game. It should be interesting. Part of me feels like Jacksonville could, especially if Buffalo starts slow like they have been, if the Jags take care of the football, man, this thing could get out of control early. But you never know, man. I mean, you got Josh Allen, James Cook. Though I don't really like his matchup on the ground, I feel like Josh Allen's going to have to do a lot with his feet and throwing the football. We will dive into some matchups that I like for props. Have a little bit of data behind them. But when we were, right before we went to break, we were sort of just we kind of blazed through it. But the schedule here, so again, looking at it with A&M and Kentucky here, you're pretty much agreeing. I mean, we really need to be 2-0 there.
Yeah, I mean, the thing
if we go 3-1, let's just say we lose at Alabama. If we could win at Georgia, come out of those next 4 3-1, I think a lot of people would feel much better. Winning one down in Athens. Again, we don't know how good Georgia is. I think there's a little bit of fool's gold there, but we'll find out when we go.
I mean, they're averaging, I think, about 99 points a game, which, I mean, they have a Dominique Wilkins' son that's playing for them this year, and he's been playing at a high level. But when you look at this 5-game stretch that we have to finish the month, I mean, you're talking about Texas A&M and Knoxville, Kentucky and Knoxville, Bama on the road, Georgia on the road, and then you finish the month with Auburn in TBA. And I mean, Auburn's another weird team where it's like I can't decide whether if they're fool's gold or maybe they're just a solid basketball team altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at some of their losses against competitive teams, I mean, they lost to Houston by 1, they lost to Michigan by 30. And then they lost to, Arizona by 29, Purdue by 28. But then, last night they beat the hell out of Arkansas. They won by 22 at home. But, they also lost to A&M earlier in the week, and they lost to Georgia in overtime as well. And so, I think, considering they have a brand new coach, a lot of new pieces in their roster, of course, as well. Had they had Bruce Pearl on that side of the bench, I'd probably be a little bit more worried about this.
Right.
But considering it's Nepo boy Stephen Pearl as the head coach, I'm not really too worried too much about that one. That should be a game that Tennessee should absolutely win. And so you're talking about there's a consideration where I think there's a good chance that Tennessee finishes 4-1 at the end of the month. And if they win 4 of these 5 games, I mean, the conversation about us being, a bubble team, like some of our fans like to talk about for whatever reason, that those conversations are long gone. But I think the bare minimum, you got to win 3 of 5. As much as I hate Kentucky and never want us to lose Kentucky, they've always given us fits at TBA over our last couple of years. And playing at Bama is tough no matter what, no matter how new the roster that NATO has. And so, but if you go 3 out of 5, that's talking about, 14-7 at the end of the month, and then you got a pretty favorable conference schedule in February too to start off. And so, which you put yourself in the right position. But yeah, I mean, you go 4-1 in that 5-game stretch. You're talking about a 15-6 team, and we're most likely within 3rd place or 4th place in conference.
Yeah. I mean, that's. When you're looking at the overall, I think we agree there. Take care, especially these 5 games remaining in this month. you get 4-1 out of this group, and then maybe they start believing. Maybe there's a little more mojo, a little more vibe in the practices, starting to believe. Some of the younger guys are starting to, buy into a little bit more defense mentality, defense first, control the boards. But yeah, I mean, we've got to have some secondary scores though step up. It can't just be Gillespie. It can't just be 14 or 15 points from a Mint. We need to see him. We need to see more there certainly out of him. I'd want to see more out of the rebounding aspect of his game, blocking some shots, perhaps. Just looking like the guy that a lot of schools wanted, and is still, by a lot of projections, is still borderline lottery pick.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, a lot of that isn't based off what you're seeing right now. It's more over potential. Yeah, totally. But I will say, do you have a team right now? I mean, Arizona looks the part. Certainly in the in that conference, you've got Iowa State. You've got, there's some solid teams. BYU is no joke with the talented freshmen that they have. But is there any other? I still feel like Purdue's going to be one of those teams that you can just kind of pencil in as a Final Four, depending on their draw. But Michigan is clearly the favorite right now in the Big Ten. But again, I look at it, I think the Big Ten, as far as top to bottom and just star power, the weight at the top in the Big Ten and the Big 12, you can maybe make the case is considerably much better than the SEC.
Oh, I think you can make that argument too. The Big Ten currently has 4 teams in the top 15 and 5 teams are within the top 20. Or 6 teams in the top 20. Sorry, yeah, I was in there as well. I think a couple teams that kind of stand out to me is you can't look past Duke. Duke with Isaiah Evans and Cameron Boozer. Evans averaging a little bit over 14 points a game. Obviously, Cameron Boozer is probably the number 1 pick in the draft this year.
Yeah.
23 points and nearly 10 rebounds a game. In fact, he's averaging nearly a double-double as a true freshman. Is pretty extraordinary. Arizona's a stout basketball team too. I hate that Toby Awaka is playing at a good level over there. You kind of wish he had that over here, but sometimes it's just the best for certain guys to transfer and have a new setting. But I think a little bit of a consideration is just Arizona hasn't really played anybody too great. They played a couple decent teams, in non-conference, playing against Alabama and Auburn. And they did beat UConn, but when you look at their conference schedule, it's pretty soft. You're talking about Arizona State, Cincinnati, West Virginia. These are teams, and TCU, that are going to be bubble teams at best. One team that we played earlier this year, which I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking a little bit, just because of the fact they've already lost a couple games. But I like Illinois.
Yeah, I do too.
I like with Stojakovic, and also Keaton Wagler as well. True freshman is averaging about 16 points a game. They're a team that has a lot of physicality, right? A couple 7-foot, Croatian centers. Ivicic, was a guy that kind of gave us fits when we played them back in December. Stojakovic is he's honestly one of my favorite players in college basketball to watch. Just the fact, 6'7", able to stretch the court, has such a pretty 3-point shot as well. And very physical on the defensive side too. They're a type of team that honestly has the tools and the physicality to be able to make a deep run in the tournament and potentially make a Final Four. And Brad Underwood, their head coach, is a stellar basketball coach too. So it's a little bit early for me to say, just because there's just so many unknown variables. And obviously you look at now, it's easy to say Purdue, it's easy to say UConn, but man, everything could shape up so completely different at the end of the season. And you never know. There's always that one team in the tournament that makes a crazy run. I know last year was kind of like the most predictable tournament and tournament history as far as like the 4 1 seeds making the tournament itself, but I feel like it's going to be a little bit different this season, though. There's a lot more clarity within that top 25.
Yeah, no question. The other team that maybe the most impressive win, aside from these blowouts that Michigan went on in that holiday tournament, has to be the Iowa State when they went to Purdue and just I was texting with the station's very own Bob Baskerville, and he was like, "Look, that's a hell of a team. We're not playing good today, but they're having a little bit of something to do with that." But man, Iowa State is very good, and I would watch out for them as well. I told you we would jump into some NFL stuff, and the Patrick Everson on the X, he's good with a lot of the Vegas lines and things like that. And I just saw where he had tweeted here a little while ago, or X'd, how the really sharp accounts, bettors, and what they're on the wild card games. As for today and Monday, they're hammering the over on the Bills Jags 51.5. Again, that looks like a no-brainer. Yeah. With the way those teams, I expect Travis Etienne to eat on the ground versus them. Surprisingly, the Bills, if you dive into that, they struggled, like mightily struggle against stopping opposing running backs. However, their pass defense is actually a lot better, and it's very solid against outside wide receivers. I would fade Brian Thomas Jr. If you're attacking them, you're doing so on the inside. Parker Washington, or certainly a Jacoby Myers, Brenton Strange. Though they don't give up a lot to tight ends, which is really, really odd. But that is one game that they're definitely sharp money is hitting pretty hard, according to this gentleman. Eagles -4 versus the 49ers. Again, you don't know what you're going to get from Purdy. And on the road, it should be interesting. By the way, I do like A.J. Brown anytime touchdown today. I'll explain that, why I like that. I've got some pretty good data behind his matchup. Steelers +3.5. I'm not sure I really buy that.
No.
To me, Texans, I think they're going to suffocate Aaron Rodgers.
My thing is with the Texans,
but they're tough at home. Pittsburgh's tough, catching points anytime at home.
My thing is with the Texans is just, they struggle so tremendously in the playoffs. It's unbelievable. They might have the worst playoff record out of any team that's in the playoffs this year. But their offensive line's a little bit a little shaky. They don't really have a run game that much, at a high level, and I just feel like offensively they've been a little bit sluggish, have struggled just as far as consistency goes. Don't get me wrong. Aaron Rodgers is just, it's amazing the man's still able to move, but there's just something about Mike Tomlin and home playoff games and big games in general where they're just able to claw away and find a way to win in those type of situations. And the thing is, you should get rid of this kind of the franchise bias on how teams kind of perform in the playoffs, and everything. But there's just something about the Steelers and these type of games where I got more confidence. And I'm pretty sure, I think DK Metcalf is supposed to be back on Monday.
Yes,
is he not?
He is. Yeah, his suspension's lifted.
Yeah. So, that's another one to keep an eye on. The other thing, talking about Bills Jaguars real quick, that caught my eye as I was looking on DraftKings and trying to build these these parlays. They had James Cook for over/under rushing yards at 79.
They haven't given up a running back. Now that's a different breed. That's a great offensive line, great running scheme, but they have not given up a 70-yard rusher all year,
which is impressive.
It's impressive. I would not bet it. But if I had to lean, I'd lean under, but I wouldn't feel good about it. It'd be like me I moved the total last night on that crazy game up. Mm-hmm. I had it on a parlay. And parlays, they're hard to hit. But I had first touchdown scorer of the game, Christian Watson. I got that. Yeah. I had Packers plus 4.5. That barely hit.
Yeah.
But they're in control the game.
Yeah.
And it's become a pattern there, which would not shock me if they move on from LaFleur. There's a pattern there. I realize you didn't have your, the guy you mortgaged all your draft picks for in Micah Parsons, but it's going to be interesting. And I'm going to give you a piece. I was segueing into this. Adam Schefter reported about an hour ago. Interesting little nugget here. Former Packers president Bob Harlan is royalty in Green Bay. His son, Brian, is an agent who represents, guess who? John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh has deep Midwestern roots and ties. If the Packers decide they want to change head coaches, Harbaugh would be the most logical replacement. Now, what I want to ask you and toss to you, being a Titans fan, and I know there was reports out there that Harbaugh was watching, being reported that he was doing a serious deep dive, watching a lot of film on Jackson Dart and the Titans' Cam Ward. My question to you, if Harbaugh elects to and they move on, would you be all right with Matt LaFleur? I mean, he's clearly better than what you've had. You're talking about a guy
by a mile.
By a mile.
I mean, here's my thing: do I think he would be better than what we've had? I mean, there's no dispute about it. I mean, Brian Callahan was clearly heels over his boots, taking a role like this and just being the responsibilities of as a head coach. But the thing that goes back to me about LaFleur, or as I call him to my Packers buddies, LaFraud. The problem with LaFraud is that he finds a way to get himself in the way of every single big game, critical moment that there is. Like there was zero excuse last night on them not winning that game by 2 touchdowns. And even then, you're talking about 6 minutes left in the game. They're up by 11. It's 27-16. And you had that. I mean, that game should be in the bag. I mean, the defensive line for the Packers mauled Caleb Williams and that Bears offensive line all night.
Yeah.
And then it just seemed like in those final 2 drives, they just played full conservative mode, didn't try to put too much pressure on him, and gave him time. And Williams and Loveland are just completely just torched. The Packers secondary, and so. I think he would be all right. The Titans, I'll be honest with you, there's only one guy for me that I really, really want Tennessee to get, and I think he would be the most logical. He's somebody who's had success before at franchises that are similar as the Titans level, and I think it's Kevin Stefanski. I think Kevin Stefanski would be the perfect hire for the Titans because this is somebody that's come. The thing is that people have to remember is going from.
I think it'd be a very solid hire.
I think it'd be
get a defensive guy in there with him. But yeah, he clearly can coach offensive football.
Because you've seen from time and time again guys that have come from big organizations that have, let's be real, big budgets and things like that, like the Packers. They'll go to a drop below. And they tend to struggle. I mean, and not to say the Cowboys are at the same level as the Titans, but as far as dysfunction goes, they're certainly right in that same ballpark as us. You saw that with Mike McCarthy. I mean, McCarthy was just, it just didn't work over there.
Right.
And I feel like with LaFleur, how good of a coach is he really going to be when he's going to realize that DK is his best wide receiver, and Gunnar Helm is going to be his only reliability at tight end, and he's got an offensive line that has, Dan Moore Jr., Peter Skoronski, and J.C. Latham, who are not even remotely close to the level that the Packers are.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing you have to take in consideration. And so if I was the Titans, I would try to go all in on possible Stefanski, even allow him to have the responsibility that some of the GM does, which is making the decision on draft picks, letting him pick the board. You just do everything you possibly can to be on board with him. And and the way I look at it, taking the Browns to the Super Bowl to the playoffs is equivalent to making a Super Bowl appearance. So, I mean, and he's made 2 appearances in the playoffs with the Browns. So, like, for me, that is more than good enough as a qualifier for a head coach for the Titans.
Yeah, and he is very well respected around the league. I think it would be a really good. I think you could certainly do way worse. Now, back to LaFleur, and I found this little nugget last night, and I knew he was at some point. He was on Dan Quinn's staff in Atlanta, but it makes it the meme that was sent was saying, "Oh, Falcon fans know him all too well." He was on that staff that was leading with Matt Ryan 28-3 the Super Bowl against Tom Brady and the Patriots. Listen to the guys on that staff. This is insane. Dan Quinn was your head coach. Kyle Shanahan, who a lot of people say he's a lot like. I think Kyle Shanahan's certainly a better tactician as far as getting guys mismatches. I don't think either one of them have, including Jordan Love or Brock Purdy, are like, just home run, legit franchise quarterbacks. They're okay dudes in great systems. But on that staff in Atlanta that lost the Super Bowl 28-3, sorry, Falcon fans, Dan Quinn, Kyle Shanahan, Raheem Morris, defensive-minded, Matt LaFleur, Mike LaFleur. Here you go. Mike McDaniel. How old was that cat on that team? I mean, he was over there probably just hitting the reefer, like with those shades on.
Oh, yeah.
And Jeff Ulbrich. That was, I mean, say what you want, but that was a hell of a staff that he put together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess when you're around that sort of culture, I mean, again, I think it's one of those things where, and I was simply just putting that out there because there's that possibility. There's that Harbaugh news dropping the other day was like, and here's the sad thing. I've talked to 2 big Ravens fans, and they're done with Lamar. Lamar would not listen. How that went down, and there's reports out that the owner, I think it's Steve Bisciotti, sits down with Harbaugh and is like, "Look, if this relationship's going to continue, you've got to get rid of Monken and as your OC." And and from what I understand, he says, "Look, there's coaches and coordinators are not the problem. We have, yes, there's a culture issue here, but our star quarterback is falling asleep in team meetings. He's showing up late. And, oh, by the way, he and the offensive coordinator did not talk for the last. You cannot have that going on.
It's not surprising either.
No, it's not.
When you look at his body language.
I don't want anything to do with a player like that. I don't care how talented they are.
I mean, you've seen it time and time again, right? I mean, like,
have they missed they missed their opportunity right now? I would trade him and get the most value you could get. And I understand. I mean, you're about, how many miles are left with Derrick Henry? You might have one more caliber year of him playing at this level.
I think it's an understatement that they have missed their opportunity. You're talking about last year, Derrick Henry had a near 2,000 yards of rushing at 31. Right? At 31 years old, almost rushing for 2,000 yards. And this year this was considered a down year. And he had 1,595 yards, which was second in the league, and 16 touchdowns. Like, you still have a guy that realistically is going to play 1 or 2 more seasons, but they had no excuse last year to not make the Super Bowl. I mean, the talent that they have on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, even with Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews as well, I mean, absurdly talented on that side of the ball.
Right.
And this year, I mean, it was just a complete dumpster fire altogether. I know Lamar Jackson missed a few games and, he had injuries and things like that, of course. But look, like with the money that you're paying Lamar, the money that you paid for Derrick Henry, and I'm sure Derrick Henry's thought about this, but Derrick Henry didn't go to Baltimore just to get the same results that he got in Nashville. All right?
Yeah.
To miss out in the playoffs and be on a mediocre football team. He went to Baltimore thinking that we're going to be a Super Bowl contender and we're going to make it, make the Super Bowl and win the AFC. And they didn't even make the AFC title game last year. So, I think that ship has sailed, and I think you have to take in consideration, what teams out there would be willing to take Lamar's contract and, have us offload it for draft picks and things like that, and I don't know if there's a lot of teams that'd be willing to do that. As dysfunctional as the Jets are, I don't think the Jets are going to be giving away a number 1 pick or anything like that. And I don't know if the Falcons, for example, would be willing to take that much money considering the fact that they just invested an absurd contract for Kirk Cousins and already kind of gone all in on Michael Penix Jr. as well. And so there's not a lot of good spots where Lamar could go to. You can maybe make the argument that he could maybe go to Miami, if they do trade him. But what coach is going to want to go in that situation and be like, okay, this franchise just fired a Super Bowl winning coach, one of the most consistent coaches in the last 15 years in the AFC, who's always made the playoffs with the exception of a couple seasons, due to the fact that he didn't want to work, make a compromise with a star quarterback who's obviously over his head, making a couple $100 million and falling asleep during, film session, not talking to his offensive coordinator and not taking any criticism at all whatsoever. It's going to be hard for somebody to want to go into that. And so I'd be intrigued to see. Again, I think Matt LaFleur would be, ironically, we were talking about him for the Titans. I think LaFleur to Baltimore certainly could be a possibility, though, if Green Bay does part ways with him.
Oh, I think so. And I think he's going to have a clear option. I think he probably knows where he wants, have a good, stable, solid young quarterback that's coachable, that's not a drama. For someone I drafted him in a dynasty league, and you already saw the impact that Jackson Dart had when he was healthy. But I really would be concerned if I'm a Giants fan, because of the way his mentality and plays. And that's a little different if you're, a middle linebacker or safety. Even a running back. But quarterbacks, you just cannot take chances the way he does and challenge defenders head on. I wonder if that he has, that piece, and I'm sure with him breaking down game film and stuff, he's probably looking at it like, okay, well, yeah, sometimes just concussions and freak injuries happen. They're just a freak accident, but man, it seems like a lot of his have been just being careless and not being smart. You got to be smart. There's a difference there in getting 3 extra yards and taking on a guy when you can just get down or slide out of bounds. But he's taken some really tough hits and had two bona fide, 2 big concussions this year, and that's real concerning if you're a Giants fan, and for him. Because he's a super talented guy, and I loved his game coming out of college. But man, there's a difference in doing it. Josh Allen does it, and sure, he's had a concussion or 2, but he's pretty smart about it and his ability to get down and But I think he's one of those guys that certainly. I think it changes things now. This piece with Green Bay, what did they do with LaFleur? So moving forward,
and I think this was a disappointing year for Green Bay, especially considering the fact that right before the season starts, you bring in Micah Parsons, and I think the expectation was
losing Tucker Kraft was huge too. That guy was a stud. Weapon.
And he was absolutely cooking, for sure. But the expectation at the start of the year, let's be real, was like, man, they got Micah Parsons, they got Josh Jacobs, they got, You know, I mean, Christian Watson's going to come back, you know, and Tucker Kraft, you know, and like in Jaden Reed, like these guys are loaded on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, they should probably be the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year. And I think that was the expectation for a lot of Packers fans. I think it's not just like the fact that they lost 7 games this year, but it's like the way they lost too. It's just, you know, you could just tell within the last 6-7 games of the season, just so inconsistent and just not the level I feel like that their fan base probably expects, more or less. And so, I mean, you still made the playoffs, but, you know, I mean, losing to a big-time rival, losing to the Bears especially, that one absolutely stings for them. But I'll tell you what, man, if I'm a fan of the 49ers or Eagles, right, winner of that game obviously goes to Chicago. I'd be a little nervous playing against the Bears in Chicago, honestly. I don't know what it is with this team because let's be real, like it's not like Caleb Williams is an incredible quarterback. It's not like that they have like an absurd amount of weapons at wide receiver. They got a couple good wideouts, you know, with DJ Moore. You know, and DeAndre Swift at running back is all right, but man, like there's just something about one of those. It's just one of those teams that no matter what, just finds a way to win, regardless of the circumstances. You know, in a way, Clooney, they kind of remind me of that first Eagles team that won the first Super Bowl back when they had Nick Foles coming back up. You know, it's just there's not a lot of stuff where they do at an elite level where they're just absolutely just stand out, kind of like how the Eagles were last year,
right?
Or the Chiefs, you know, offensively over the past decade. But man, the Bears just somehow, some way, I mean, just will always find a way to win if they're within 2 touchdowns, 3, or in the case of last night, 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see how that plays out. Obviously, I think Seattle fans are probably really, really nervous about playing the Rams again in the divisional round. That is going to be a phenomenal football game. I cannot wait for that one.
And we'll touch on that on the other side. We'll give out some picks. We're going to break down some of those matchups, including today. Again, it all starts as we end the show, 1 o'clock, Bills at the Jaguars. And looks like the game's right there. It's on the odds. It's again, the biggest thing is it opened at 46.5 and it's up to 51.5, and I would not touch the under. But again, there was some craziness. I thought the game last night had a chance to stay under the 44.5. It went off at 45.5.
Yeah.
I moved it up on that parlay to 51.5, and I thought, man, I'm safe. Not so fast. But anyways, we're going to break it down on the other side. We do have one last break and let you hear from our sponsors. And Drew and I will come back for the final segment here of Neutral Zone presented by Fleet Tire on Fan Run Radio.
Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Men all around Knoxville are celebrating the difference Men's Pro has made in their life. I'm Evan Bass, founder of the clinic. If you're struggling with ED, we want you to be able to celebrate as well. As men, we hate going to the doctor, but Men's Pro was designed to take care of men like you better. These things can get worse if untreated, but you're not alone. The medical support team at Men's Pro has your back. Today's the day to feel alive again. ED, performance issues, enhancement. We've effectively helped men jumpstart their performance comprehensively and with proven medication dialed in just for you. With same-day booking, you can meet our passionate team, and under guidance from our medical provider, you could leave with a plan that changes your life. The number one thing we hear guys say is, I forgot how I used to feel. Guys, it's time to feel amazing and crush this new year. Call my team right now and let us treat you to an unforgettable experience. Dial 865-544-8220 or go to menspronknoxville.com.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
Yeah, man, let it breathe, Drew. Well, I miss hearing from TR.
Hopefully he gets a cell phone soon. It's been a minute.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
All right, welcome back into the Neutral Zone, presented by Fleet Tire, 111 East Woodland Avenue on Fan Run Radio. 865-966-3435 if you want to chime in. Tell us who you like today. Maybe you're a Bears fan celebrating that crazy win. Maybe, TR's a Rams fan. I don't think he expected that game to be that close.
Is he really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, he's a huge Rams fan.
Interesting.
He's been calling my show for years and talking the Rams. I mean, he goes back. This guy goes way back. The days of well before the Kurt Warner.
Oh yeah, when they were in Los Angeles.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, way back.
Weird. Interesting.
Jack, what was it? Jack Ham. I'm trying to remember his name right off the top of my head, but yeah, the Rams, man, they had some nasty teams back in the day. Like they would.
Was that the quarterback that? What's his name? He used to be on ESPN. That sports pundit, early '90s, made fun of. I think it was like Jack Ham and say like he was Christy Ham or Chris Ham or.
Yeah.
Was that the one like took? Oh my gosh, what was that? What was that guy on ESPN? I think he was on Around the Block. I think that was his show.
Around the Block on ESPN. Yeah, that sounds.
Escapes me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. I'm not a Rams historian, but you had the Rams at the Steel Curtain, took down. What was that? Was that the Lynn Swan catch against the Rams?
Yeah.
Over the top there where yeah, man. So let's get to some picks here in this second day of wild card action right here. If you have a play you like or a comment on anything we've discussed, 865-966-3435. Drew, who do you have? Bills at the Jags. Any specific plays in there? Popular plays are certainly anytime touchdown by Josh Allen. I tend to lean towards Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
I'm even going to play him 2 touchdowns. It was plus 460 this morning. It's now down to plus 420. Party time. It would be party time if that hits.
Oh yeah. Now I got a couple in mind. I had a 6-pick parlay that included the game. That included yesterday, where 2 for 2 so far. I had Panthers covering 10.5. That line was coming out the first that these lines were, so Monday. Had Panthers covering 10.5, Bears covering 1.5. Obviously, they won by 4. And today I got Bills money line, 49ers money line, Patriots money line, and then ending Monday with the Steelers money line. $5 wager for about $345 in return. So they're giving me a cash out of $14 already.
Nice.
And so I'm a little bit tempted about it, but I think I'm just going to ride with it. I feel like the two safe picks as far as the same game parlay goes for Bills Jags today. Obviously Trevor Lawrence has been on a tear as far as the rushing touchdowns go. He had that little streak of 3 or 4 games in a row where he had a rushing touchdown. He's at plus 180, so I snagged him. And then Josh Allen at the moment is at minus 125. So for plus 425, same game parlay. Anytime TDs for both Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence today, at least as far as for the Bills Jags game.
Yeah, again, your thoughts on that total? It has, like I said, it has skyrocketed up to 51.5, but you could obviously move it down a point, 50.5, 27, 24. This game kind of has that feel that it would go. I mean, some are even predicting in the 30s, low 30s, 30, 31, 27 type game. But if you get there with that, man, that could be really interesting.
So these games, I feel like when it comes to the NFL, are always so tricky because how many times have we seen it this year, Cloney, where it seems like this is the most obvious play, hitting 51.5.
Exactly.
This game could easily scream for me being a defensive battle where it's like a 10-7 halftime score.
Yes.
And then, wind up being 24-20 or something along those lines.
Yep.
I personally wouldn't touch that. For me, I think there's just a lot of variables. Like, you consider the fact that the Jags have an elite rush defense, no disputing that. Defensive line, obviously have been feeding families all season this year. But then again, they haven't played a offense kind of like the Bills that are as versatile and have, a lot of pieces as well. I mean, James Cook is a different breed. Josh Allen is very, very tricky on his feet as well, where he can be able to create plays out of nothing. And I think the other thing that we kind of take in consideration or kind of forget too is just, Dalton Kincaid has been a little bit of a forgotten guy.
I like him
when
today.
When it comes to that Bills offense. And so he's another one where I'm like, if I want a guy that has a little bit high odds today, as far as anytime touchdown goes, he's at plus 250 on DraftKings, which I think is going to be pretty good money for him if you were to go that route. But just for me, I think the safest bets for today, the Trevor Lawrence line has already gone down to plus 170. He was at plus 180 about 15 minutes ago, so obviously people are putting some money on him for anytime touchdown. But I feel like Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence are both safe picks. I kind of feel like when it comes to the running back stuff like James Cook and ETN, those kind of seem like the obvious choices. But I mean, how many times have we seen it again where the most obvious choice for anytime touchdown doesn't always pan out? I mean, you've seen all throughout the season of Jahmyr Gibbs, for example, being minus 200, and he had a little bit of a down year himself. So I'm going to go with Josh Allen anytime touchdown, Trevor Lawrence anytime touchdown, and Bills money line, which is also at plus 102.
I like it. Again, I don't have this game, to me, it has a feel that, to me, Buffalo's certainly more inconsistent. But I feel like if the Jaguars, first playoff game, rookie coach, we saw even Ben Johnson struggle a little bit in the first half there. The crowd got into it. Green Bay did Green Bay things and just kind of left the door open. But I'm intrigued by this game. I don't have a true. It's a hard one for me to pick. Sort of like that one last night. I honestly thought Green Bay might, and it looked like they were. They had full control of it. And then they just, this was a pattern though. This happened. My Broncos in Mile High down 8 in the fourth quarter, come back and win. It was the little things that they don't do. and they didn't take care of the ball, silly penalties. I think I saw a stat last night where they were down or they were up at some point in the game 15 points or more and lost 3 times. That's tough.
Yeah.
And 2 of those came with obviously one happened to the same opponent in Chicago. Just 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. It is tough. So in that first game, my official play, I'm going to play ETN. I've got him on a separate ticket to score an anytime touchdown or score 2 anytime touchdowns. I got it at +4. It was +460 this morning. I got it at +440, actually. I just went back and looked. It is now +420. Now watch 210 will vulture his touchdowns, or Trevor Lawrence will run them in. But ETN has a ++ matchup against the Bills. But I'm going to take on this one, ETN anytime touchdown, brought the over down, the total to 46.5. 27-20 gets you there. 24-23 gets you there over the total. And an either player to score an anytime touchdown, Jacoby Myers or Dalton Kincaid. I'm torn on either. I think Kincaid can score, but that's plus 110 on either of those two. Do you think Jacoby Myers, do you like him better than Parker Washington? Washington's been hot lately. So it's intriguing.
It's intriguing, but I just feel like going from an odds perspective, it just seems like Jacoby Myers just seems like the safe pick on that one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or I could do Jacoby Myers, or I don't think it's offering you a Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers. But I might like that. I really think Dalton Kincaid can be an impact in this game. And I believe it'll happen, obviously over on his yards. Trevor Lawrence, though, how many games in a row has he ran a touchdown in?
It's got to be 4 or 5. I know he's just been an absolute terror.
In fact, if you want to go, if you want to get a little silly, and last night, like I said, I hit that first touchdown scorer, but Trevor Lawrence plus 1,100 to be the first touchdown scorer. Josh Allen plus 700. I mean, a little sprinkle on both of those if you've got a little extra funds in your account. That wouldn't be.
I think DraftKings has been noticing this because now, they can't allow you to pick first TD score on a same game parlay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I mean, honest with you, I might sprinkle in Trevor Lawrence he's a plus 1,000 right now on DraftKings for anytime TD.
Plus what?
He's 1,000.
That's for first touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's 1,100 on right now. I'm looking at it on FanDuel. But again, Neutral Zone is presented by Fleet Tire, 111 East Woodland Avenue. Weather is, again, we had the, what is it, what do they want to call that? It's not really dogwood winter. That's later in the, as we get in close to spring. Yeah. But this is kind of like the false winter that we just had all the warm, crazy weather. Now the winter is returning, and this time next weekend could be interesting. So
saying snow.
Yeah, so it could be. Drew, man, we could get you a sponsor and get you back there doing some this winter weather report. Maybe we bring on NFL Dorsey out of Atlanta. That was Philly always liked. Yeah, I don't mind hearing from her. I mean, yeah. So I don't know, man. The Trevor Lawrence first touchdown is. I got a couple of minutes here to think that over, but it's definitely piqued my interest. Yeah, I don't know, but I do like. Again, I do like me some. I think Dalton Kincaid can have some success in this game if, maybe a little Dawson Knox, sprinkled in there. So we'll watch that. But again, and And then receptions. I'm going to play a little sprinkle on Jacoby Myers in there. 5 receptions for minus 136. I really believe, and this is why I really like this. I told you I would share some. Let me share these nuggets here. I forgot what I did with it. Well, I don't remember what I did with it. But anyways, I saw a thing there where, I know the matchup tonight. The Chargers, where they run cover 3 and cover 4 nearly 60% of the time. Mm-hmm. The guy that could totally eat is, because they play him outside more, is Stephon Diggs. Interior wide receivers don't do as well against the Chargers. So that is one. I told you one of my plays of the day is A.J. Brown should have a monster game today if Jalen Hurts can actually find him. The reason I like that, Niners run cover 3 and cover 4, again, nearly 60% of the time. Niners cornerback Leonardo Green has been torched by outside receivers. See Alec Pierce a few weeks back. He torched him multiple times. Plus, the Niners really have no pass rush. They're no threat to get after Jalen Hurts, the quarterback. They would have to really, Robert Saleh, who's a great defensive mind, would have to come up, disguise some things that Sirianni and that offense and Hurts has really never seen. But all in all, I just feel like they have time to go downfield, let plays develop. I think A.J. Brown has a real shot at scoring and producing some big yards. I would definitely take a shot on his over longest reception. I have not looked at that, but I think that has clear positive vibes on that. But anything else that stands out to you, Drew?
No, I mean, I think A.J. Brown's a good shout as far as anytime touchdown. I kind of picked up Dallas Goedert at plus 190 for anytime touchdown.
Yep.
And then for Chargers, New England, I also picked up Stephon Diggs, who is at plus 180 at the moment as well. I was kind of tempted for Travion Henderson, but again, it's just sometimes when it comes to these games, the most obvious choice always isn't necessarily the smartest choice.
Right.
And then the risky one I got is I think the riskiest bet that I have today is 49ers money line. I just have a very weird thing when it comes to teams making a back-to-back Super Bowl appearance. Mm-hmm. It's not a very common thing. I know we've seen the Chiefs do it in the past, but let's be real, those Chiefs rosters over the last several years have been way inflated in talent compared, in previous years and previous Super Bowl champions. So I kind of like 49ers. I just feel like this might be a game where Brock Purdy and the 49ers kind of get their revenge from a few years ago when they played in that NFC title game in Philadelphia where it was a complete disaster for them. And maybe Purdy might be able to finally get over the hump as far as being able to produce in a big-time moment. And so Patriots, I think Patriots are going to take care of business. That place is almost impossible during playoff season, especially to go up there and get a win. And you just feel like this is just kind of like Drake May's time to be able to make a run into an AFC championship. And then obviously to end it off at the very end, Steelers money line. I hate the Texans. Always will hate the Texans. I hate the city of Houston.
I'm not a fan of them either.
I think C.J. Stroud is a fraud. Nico Collins, very, very overrated wide receiver. And I just something along the lines of, Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin just finds a way to win big games and big moments, especially when it's a playoff game in Pittsburgh. So can't ever count them out.
Well, there you have it. No, I look, I do. I agree with you. I think the game tomorrow night, again, 3 games today, huge games, very much impact. Then you get into that divisional round next week, and again, man, I'm ready for my Broncos to try to defend home field, but there's a lot of good action today, and we'll see. We're going to find out a lot about this Jacksonville team, and first time being in the playoffs for a young quarterback and rookie coach who has had great success as an OC. But it's different when you get to this point. So, hey, we really appreciate you guys making us a part of your Sunday, and Fan Run Radio, big shout out to them, as well as Fleet Tire. Drew behind the glass, the clone here, signing off. Hope you have a great week. Stay warm out there.